Good afternoon, Scott with BayTroll. We're here to talk to you about our tip of the day. We're going to talk about your leader lines and your main lines and the damage to them that you get when you're fishing, and little nicks, dings, and stuff. You don't want to lose a trophy fish on your next trip because you didn't change out your line and you didn't change out your leaders. Also, during this segment, we're going to talk about our attachment knots from our main line to our leaders and from our leaders to our lures. Okay, guys. Like I was saying, we're going to change out our leader and cut back some main line. And in order to do that, clippers or a good sharp knife, and then you need to have your leader material. We use a fluorocarbon 20-pound test for this time of the year, which is early season. So first, we're going to cut off our leader from our lure from our leader. We'll set that aside. We'll go put that one back on. There's our leader, and then get to the end of your leader and take off. Yeah, that's a good 2 arms length, but close to 12 feet. Oops. Just going to cut that back, and that we will dispose of. All right, guys. So I'm going to set my stuff aside and bring my leader on this side. It's easier for me to tie this way. What we tie is a double uni knot. It's really, probably to me, it's the easiest one to tie. And basically what we're going to do is take our 2 lines, leader coming in from the right, and our main line coming in from the left, so that they face as such. Okay? Bring them together. And what we're going to do is take our leader. Hopefully you can see this. We're going to make a loop, just like that. Okay? We're going to take this tag in. We're going to run it through the loop. And we're going to do that 6 times. So that was 1, 2, 5, and 6. I'm going to moisten that with this little saliva and pull it snug. Not really going to crank down on it yet. I just want to snug it up just so it doesn't come undone. And we're going to take our main line. In this picture, it's blue on a blue background, which I'm sure is difficult to see. We're going to make a loop. So it's just a nice loop. And this one's going to go through 10 times. 3, 9, and 10, and we'll tighten that one down. Now the reason we did 6 on one and 10 on the other is that braid is just so much finer that those knots will pull apart, and then the fluoro doesn't need extra. Now what we're going to do now, I got the main line in one hand, the leader in the other, the fluorocarbon in the other. And we're going to pull, and those 2 knots will cinch down against each other. Pull nice and tight. Pull our tags just to make sure we're snugged up. And everything is nice and tight. Okay. Next we're going to trim our tags off. Use little extra bits. For the fluoro, I like the traditional clippers. We're going to get as close as we can to the knot and just clip that off. For braid, I don't really like clippers because it just doesn't clip clean. I actually prefer a knife. It just seems to cut it better. So I pull my tag in. I'm going to take my knife. I'm going to bring, I like the serrated edges for these, bring it right up tight against the fluoro on the other side and just push down and it'll cut. So when you're done, very, very short tags, very clean little knot. And it does a pretty good job of passing through the eyes of your fishing pole. All right, guys, we got our double uni knot that we tied to put our leader onto our main line. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to measure out our leaders. I typically like about a 2 to 3 foot leader. And I pull a little extra, just a little bit extra for tying the knot to the lures, because as you tie and change your lures, they will shorten. Now I use fluorocarbon, and the reason we're using fluorocarbon is for its abrasion resistance versus braid. Braid does not do well with abrasion, so stripers in particular have pretty bony cheeks, and they have their spines on their dorsal fins. They'll shred a braided line, and especially a big trophy striper. The other thing about fluoro is that it's clear. And we were actually going to film this on a white background, and you couldn't see it. So we filmed it on a yellow background, and you couldn't see it. Surprisingly, it showed up on blue a little better. So that's the some of the advantages of fluoro. And then next, what we're going to do is tie our lure to the fluoro, which there it is, and that is going to be done with what's fisherman's knot, just a standard old fisherman's knot. And I'll show you that next. All right. So what we're going to do here is tie our lure, in this case it's a jig, onto our leader. We use the fisherman's knot, just traditional fisherman's knot. It's nothing fancy. Most of you guys that fish know this. There's a lot of knot I learned as a little kid, and I still use today, and it works great. Start with the end of your leader. You're going to come through the eye of the hook, pull a couple inches through. I like to pinch down with my thumb and my index finger. Take your tag end here. You're going to go around the main line 6 times. So that was once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Okay. Now this loop right here next to the eye, we'll take our tag end, we're going to come through that loop. It created a new loop right here. We're going to take our tag end and we're going to go through this loop. Like such. Get hold of the main line there. Now we're going to pull it all nice and tight. At this point, you really want to wet your line down. Okay? That just helps the line slide and snug up. And as you pull tight, those little coils will stack on each other, and it'll pull up tight against the eye of your hook. The last bit is to trim your little tag. Your tag line here. I still like my clippers for this. Come in. I leave just a little bit. I don't have to trim this one as tight. So I leave a little short tail right there just to, you know, when that fish of a lifetime's on there, my knot doesn't come untied. And that's how we're attaching this to fisherman's knot. It's the way I learned it. It's held up pretty well, and it works. There are many other knots that you can use. This is just the one we do. Okay, so just to recap for you guys, change your leaders every time. Change the first 10 feet of that line, 10 to 12 feet of your main line between trips. It'll save you on that fish of a lifetime, so you don't have that little nick doesn't break and become a big one. We talked about our knots with our double uni and our fisherman's knot. That's how we attach our lines. They work great for us. There are other ways to do it. I'm not saying they're not right. I'm not saying that this is better. It's just the way we do it. So make sure you like and subscribe to our page and follow us on social media at BayTroll410 on all the social media sites. And thank you until next time.